And welcome into Sports Talk at the Stadium from Sun Life Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, site of the Orange Bowl tonight, where the Clemson Tigers just dominated Oklahoma in the second half and wins the Orange Bowl 37-17, wins in the national semifinal, and moves on to the national championship game in Glendale, Arizona on January the 8th to play either Alabama or Michigan State, which at this time Alabama is up 10-0 in the Cotton Bowl. You know, it was back in 1981, technically January of 1982, that Clemson football team made history for its university, winning its first national championship at the original Orange Bowl about 40 miles from here in downtown Miami. This Clemson football team didn't make history tonight totally. They got to 14-0. Others have been 14-0. They can make history. Next Monday night in Arizona, with a win in the national championship game, Clemson will become the first ever 15-0 team on the major college level, the FBS level. And that will be a mark that will stand for who knows how long, because we don't know how long we'll stay with the current format in the playoff. If they add more games, then eventually some team would have a chance to break that record. But for the foreseeable future, that will be a record that cannot be broken. But first, they have to win the game and win the national championship. They did win this game in the second half by just totally shutting down Oklahoma's offense, knocking out Pirine, the running back, knocking out another running back, Mixon, eventually knocking out the quarterback, Mayfield. A very physical defensive performance in the second half for the Tigers. Clemson trailed 17-16 at halftime, and the first half was full of big plays and some controversial officiating both ways. There were calls that went against Clemson, went for Clemson, same way with Oklahoma. Bottom line is the Tigers trailed at the break 17-16. The message must have been at halftime, let's bow our neck, let's get physical, let's run the football with Wayne Gallman, and let's just go right at these guys. First play of the second half, 11 yards, Gallman, and the Tigers are off and running from there. He wasn't heavily used in the first half. He was in the second half. He finishes with 150 yards rushing to put him over 1,500 yards rushing on the season, and he was practically unstoppable in the second half. Gallman had 26 carries for those 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson had 145 rushing yards. That's a bowl record for a Clemson quarterback. He also threw for 187 yards. He scored 1 on the ground, and he threw a touchdown pass as well. Artavis Scott had 5 catches for 63 yards for the Tigers to lead them in that department. Now, defensively, Clemson just shut down the Oklahoma running game, a running game that was one of the best in the country, managed only 67 rushing yards against this Tiger defense tonight. Baker Mayfield had some good throws and had some decent numbers, but he really wasn't able to extend plays with his legs like he's known to do. He wasn't able to get outside the pocket and make plays that way as well. He eventually was knocked out of the game, what appeared to be with concussion-like symptoms, because he took a hard hit late in the game. But by then, the game was pretty much in Clemson's hands, and he wasn't going to be a factor. So the Tigers come out in the second half, go down the field and score to retake the lead. Of course, they shut out Oklahoma in the second half, so the defense was doing its job. Tigers go back down. They miss a field goal, but then a little bit later, they go back down the field, get another touchdown, extend the lead, and then eventually put the lead up to 20, and you knew then that it was going to be Clemson's night. And for the icing on the cake, Oklahoma did make a drive. They're down 20. They did make a drive, and Ben Boulware came up with an interception at the 2-yard line, returned it out to the 11, and that was it. The Tigers knew then they had punched their ticket to Phoenix for the national championship. It's just been an incredible journey for this Clemson football team. This is a group that has come together like none I've seen in a long, long time. There's certainly a unity and a spirit and a togetherness on this football team. It starts at the very top and goes all the way through the organization. And they get a chance to show that off on the greatest stage in college football a week from Monday. Huge following of Clemson fans here tonight. The attendance was 67,000. there were probably close to 30,000 or more Clemson fans in the audience tonight, and they were loud and proud and showing their support for their team throughout. So Clemson gets to 14-0, and they will have a chance to win the national championship on January 8th and make history at the same time. One injury note, Shaq Lawson was hurt late in the first quarter while getting a sack on Baker Mayfield. He tweaked his knee, kind of sprained his knee, really couldn't push off on it after that. They sat him out the rest of the game, but he should be fine for the week ahead and fine for the national championship. In his absence, Austin Bryant did an excellent job at the defensive end spot, and the rest of that defensive line picked it up. Reeder, Watkins, Pagano, Dodd on the other side. B.J. Goodson had an interception. The Clemson secondary, except for one touchdown drive for Oklahoma late in the first half, the Clemson secondary played a very good ball game as well. So it's a big night for Clemson, no doubt about it. Big night for Tiger fans everywhere. A great way to say goodbye to 2015 and look ahead to 2016 with a chance to bring a second national championship to the upstate of South Carolina. At SportsTalkSC.com, we have post-game coverage of both press conferences, plus more interviews with Tiger players and with Athletics Director Dan Radakovich, and we look forward to talking more about it with you tomorrow night on Sports Talk. We'll see you then. Happy New Year from Fort Lauderdale. Clemson wins the Orange Bowl.